Hey everyone, this is Corey with Stafford's EDC, and I got a little unboxing video here for you. This is going to be of a custom knife coming to me through Evan over at Knife Ninja EDC, but this knife belongs to Bryan at Knife Nerd, local guy here in Pennsylvania. Unboxing knife is this, I guess it's pronounced Mountain. I got this guy off AliExpress. You can see it there. It says it's like Mountain but with a B. Original Studio, and it says Austrian Bowler Steel M390 on this side. Neat little slip joint. Like I said, found this on AliExpress. Nice caramel micarta. But anyway, knife aside, this is a custom knife here that we're taking a look at. And I've looked at knives from this maker before. I'll show you the walk and talk there, this guy. But yeah, I've seen and handled knives from this maker before. You know, this is not a first for me. So let's take a closer peek at this particular model because this is new to me. I've only ever handled a production version of this model. You can see right away, for those of you who are familiar, that this is an Enrique Peña custom. And in case you didn't know that, there it is right there on the blade, Peña. And this here is the Apache model. Now this model is very similar to the Zulu pattern, which is the same pattern as this slip joint here, but you can see there are some differences. There is more of a blocky end of the handle opposed to rounded. In this case, obviously, we have a liner lock front flipper opposed to a slip joint, so keep that in mind. But the overall shape is very similar, but then one big key difference. The Zulu pattern has a spear point with this kind of characteristic swedge that it has. But the Apache, on the other hand, you can see has that same swedge, but it's more of a sheep's foot Wharncliffe style blade. This does have just a little bit of belly to it in this area here, which I believe does technically make it a sheep's foot variation. But of course you do have that nice top swedge, and this is a wonderful piece. I mean, I've had two customs from Enrique. I had a swayback and I had a Zulu, and both were fantastic knives. Ultimately I sold them just because I was chasing other things at the time, but this is no exception to just the fantastic build quality Enrique has. That action is just stupid good. For such a light blade and a light knife, that drops right to your nail and shakes shut with such little force. This, of course, does not have a pocket clip. Big difference between this and the X series version of these knives, which is the only other Apache I have handled. I handled a kickstop Apache, which has, of course, the Lee Williams kickstop mechanism, meaning a flipper on the back side that disappears in the open position, and those are all bolster locks. But yeah, this here is a custom. We have two different types of micarta going on. You have a natural micarta here, and then a burlap with what looks like black G10 running as a liner and spacer. You can see that right there. It's a little hard to tell because of how dark the burlap is in places, but the burlap is almost overlaid on, yeah, it's overlaid on top. You can see it better here, I think. You can see it much better from this end. Yeah, you can see you got natural micarta, black liner, and then you have the burlap micarta on top. You have a shield inlaid here, which I don't know what this shield's technically called, but it's nice. It's virtually seamless. You can feel the difference in material, but as for seams, you're not catching a finger or anything like that. Lockup is nice and early. These are all in 154 cm, I believe. And I don't think he does any kind of numbering or anything on the inside of these. So I'm just taking a look for right now. Nope, no kind of numbering or anything. These are all, as far as I know, Enrique doesn't necessarily do one-offs for the most part with a lot of these, but they're seldom repeated is the best way to look at it. So there are definitely other models in this existing color pattern and of the natural micarta, the burlap, and the black, but there's probably not another Apache like this. Maybe there might be one more, but there's certainly not 5 or 6. And it's something that makes Peña's knives really unique. he'll do one of every model in a certain run, and maybe he'll revisit that, but it's a really cool piece of his custom knife making history regardless. Now, something I'm curious about taking a look at this is I wanted to see, this is a hollow grind. And I'm kind of just staring down here to see if I see any kind of scooping to this grind. And I do think it is just a very slight hollow grind. I don't have any kind of like flat surface to check this against, which is what you need to tell you whether a surface is flat or not. Yeah, it's not going to help. I got nothing hanging. I got a popsicle stick. So we will use this thing here, and I don't know if you can tell, but there's a slight gap in the middle there running along the sides of this, which means it is, of course, then a hollow grind. If it was a flat grind, that popsicle stick would be sitting completely flat. I found with his customs, the detent is really nice to where you do not need a pocket clip to deploy this, which makes it fully ambidextrous except for the liner lock being a right-handed biased lock. But you can get this going with either hand, absolutely no issue. And yeah, with the way he does these, there's plenty of room to just throw your fingers on and use the front flipper. Wonderful, absolutely no issue. And this makes me miss my custom Peña so much. Centering looks like it is slightly favoring the show side. I wonder if there's a little bit of play in this guy. There is a little bit of play. So let me just try and adjust that out really quick. We have a T8. It looks like it's a T10 pivot. Oh, this is probably a T15 in here. What is this? I guess it's a T15. All right, let's grab a T10 real quick. And this is tooled on both sides, so I'm hoping I don't need to get a second driver out to tighten this. I don't. Sweet. Okay. That's still like stupid good action. And the centering's still off. Let's give that another turn. That looks just a little bit better. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that looks much more on than it was. Still flips out nice and easy, and it's a little more hydraulic on that action. I could probably fiddle with it a little bit more. There are, of course, too, some screws attaching the backspacer underneath this overlay here. So that's certainly something to keep in mind when you're adjusting knives like this. Yeah, that centering looks pretty good there. Let's see how that action feels. There's no play, and the action is stupid good still. Further attesting to the absolute quality of Enrique's builds. You're not getting a poor product at all from him. My understanding is that they're all very good, regardless whether it's a front flipper model or a thumb stud model, that he just does good work. And I can attest, now handling my third custom front flipper from Enrique, that, yeah, these are good. They are expensive, so that's something to keep in mind. But if you really love this, they're totally worth the price. That's for sure, especially on the secondary market, where you can find these under $700 typically. Retail, you're going to be looking at the mid-800s or above, depending on materials. There are some really fancy versions with Damascus going on. You're looking well over $1,000 for those models. Well, that all being said, I hope I've shared some interesting information with you. And just taking a quick unboxing of this guy, I can't wait to see how it is, in use and carry. I kind of have an idea based off my previous knowledge, but regardless, another home run from Enrique. Big thank you again to Bryan for letting me check this guy out, and for Evan for sending it along after he took a look at it. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care now.